Welcome to this lesson on parallelograms proofs. Remember, a proof is a detailed explanation of why something is true. Some common reasons that you're going to see in parallelograms proofs are given, which of course is the first reason in every proof, the reflexive property, which is when a figure is congruent to itself, and then CPCTC, which you probably remember from congruent triangle proofs. It stands for corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent, and you only use it if one of the 5 shortcuts have been used. And by shortcuts, I mean side, 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 angle, 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 side, or HL. Those are the 5 congruent triangle proofs. Okay. Let's go ahead and try example number 1. So given ABCD is a parallelogram, prove that AB is equal to DC and AD is congruent to BC. So we're proving that opposite sides are congruent. So ABCD is a parallelogram, that would be given. And then number 2 says line segment AB is parallel to line segment DC. And line segment AD is parallel to line segment BC. So the reason we know those are parallel is because, of course, this is a parallelogram. So you could say opposite sides are, and I'm going to abbreviate, opposite sides are parallel because this is a parallelogram. All right, the next statement says angle DAC is congruent to BCA. So I'm going to mark that on my picture. And then angle BAC is congruent to angle DCA. The reason we know those are congruent is because we have parallel sides. So those would be alternate interior angles. And alternate interior angles are always congruent. All right, next. AC is congruent to CA, so this is that line in the middle, and that would be the reflexive property because it's basically saying it's equal to itself. The next statement says that triangle ADC is congruent to triangle CBA. So if you look at how we have marked this diagram, and remember it may help if you cover up one of the triangles, you can see that these are congruent by angle, side, angle. All right, and then the last statement says AB is congruent to DC and AD is congruent to BC. The reason we know those are congruent is because CPCTC. We have said that this triangle is congruent to this triangle. So we can say any corresponding piece of them is congruent. So AB would be congruent to DC and AD to BC. All right, next example. JKLM is a parallelogram. We want to prove that triangle JKM is congruent to triangle LMK. So our first reason, of course, is given. Next, it tells us that JM is parallel to LK and JK is parallel to LM. So opposite sides are parallel. Then it says angle JMK, so here, is congruent to LKM. Those are alternate interior angles. Next it says JM is congruent to LK. The reason we know those are congruent is because they are opposite. And in a parallelogram, which we know this is, opposite sides are congruent. All right, next it says MK is congruent to KM. That's the line in the middle. It's saying it's congruent to itself, so that's reflexive property. And then the last one is asking us to prove that the triangles are congruent. So these would be congruent by side, angle, side. Okay, you can stop the video now and go ahead and complete Parallelograms proof practice and check it with your teacher.